All right, today we're going to talk about how to feel amazing off of TRT. So since I came off TRT testosterone several months ago after 5 years of steroids and TRT use as a pro bodybuilder, I've gotten so many guys wondering how I was able to recover, how I'm feeling good, why I'm feeling good, what I'm doing, because so many people believe that, once you've used steroids for a long period of time or you've used testosterone replacement therapy for a long period of time, there's no coming back, there's no recovering. And I can honestly say, guys, that I do not miss TRT, I do not miss testosterone replacement therapy at all. My relationships have improved, my spiritual life has gotten so much deeper. My mood is fantastic and I'm feeling very, very happy and healthy. I can honestly say I don't miss it. And since I started documenting the process of coming off and all of that, I've had so many men, literally so many men come to me, and I've been working with them on they're either currently in the process of coming off, or I've gotten them to where they've recovered and they've said the same exact thing. So many men are wanting to come off TRT replacement therapy for whatever reason, whether that's fertility reasons, spirituality reasons, whatever, where they just didn't feel right on it. And I have helped them to where they've recovered and they're reporting and experiencing the same thing to where they don't miss TRT at all. It's not all rainbows and sunshine. Today I'm not going to talk about the protocol or the PCT to come off. One, it's very, very person dependent, how I set things up, how we set things up for that. But then two, it's a very, very detailed process. So we're not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about things that I have used personally, that whether you are natural and trying to optimize yourself naturally, or you specifically are wanting to come off TRT, or you're already in the process of that, you're wanting to PCT off, these are things you need to have in place, and it'll make your experience so much better, and you can end up on the other side in a much better spot. I can honestly say now, after not only with myself, but working with many men now on this, that there is absolutely light at the end of the tunnel through this process. If you don't want to be on TRT for life, you don't want to stay on for life, you don't have to, but you do need to have certain things set in place. Now, I also want to, explain that I hold no judgment for anybody that loves TRT. They feel amazing on TRT, and they want to use TRT for life. Depending on your goals, depending on, if you've tried to maximize everything with your lifestyle, some of what we're going to talk about today, and you were not able to get your testosterone to a decent place, if you want to use TRT, I hold no judgment against that. Me personally, it wasn't for me, and I frankly don't miss it. But I also work with many men that want to optimize their TRT, and we do that as well. So getting into this. So here's 3 points I have on why I was able to recover so incredibly well and why I'm feeling so great off of TRT. So the first thing, and this is whether you are lifetime natural or whether you are PCTing off, you have to have your water under control. So much of our water supply now is contaminated. It's contaminated especially with hormones. There's birth control in the water, there's hormones in the water, there's contaminants that will hurt your testosterone. And if you are trying to come back, you are trying to recover, if you don't have your water filtered, this is something that most likely is hurting you. I've seen this with a couple guys now that they have started filtering their water, and we see a direct correlation to, frankly, not only their hormone health, but also their metabolic health. But there is a very, very profound effect of when you go from drinking unfiltered water to filtered water. Now, you need a water filter that does filter out the hormones, because a lot of water filters will filter out, the kind of the bad crap like fluoride and stuff like that, but it won't filter out hormones. So you need to get a water filter that does do that. Now, I personally use, I believe it's called HydroViv. There's a few different companies out there that are great water filter companies, and they'll take out pretty much everything from your water. And I've done this, and I literally now will not drink any water that doesn't come from my water filter. Along with that, I ended up, this is kind of a side point, but I ended up getting a shower filter that does the same thing. And my hair and beard quality has drastically improved. And I'm actually regrowing some of my hair I lost while on TRT since doing the shower filter as well. So first point, you've got to have your water under control. If you're a natural, you need this. I would even suggest this for those of you on TRT or PEDs. You need to have your water under control, because even if you are protecting your hormones by hormone replacement therapy from the contaminants in water, you're still putting that in your body. So yes, you might have your testosterone, at a static level with TRT, but you're still taking in the same crap. So this is the number one thing. It's go ahead and have a water filter. I'm definitely a bit of a conspiracy theorist on a lot of stuff, but this is one that you don't even need to be conspiracy theorist on to find very, very quick info on how bad the current water supply is and what it does to your body. So first one, water. Second one, food. This is such a big point. And this is such a big point for guys that when they come to me and they want to immediately jump on TRT, so many guys are coming to me, a little bit overweight, or even if they're not overweight, they're eating such bad quality food. So what I've done through this process, when since I've come off, is I've made sure, while I've done this for years, I've made sure to really, really tighten up the diet to where I'm eating primarily single ingredient foods. So these are foods that, on the nutrition label, it's going to be, essentially 1, 2, maybe 3 ingredients max, but typically just 1 ingredient on the nutrition label. I'm not eating processed junk, anything like that. The processed foods are terrible, and there's something that's not that's not talked about very often when it comes to testosterone, and that's insulin sensitivity. If you are somewhat insulin resistant or you're not very insulin sensitive, this directly negatively impacts your testosterone levels. So that's where if you are a little bit overweight, if you're eating processed junk, if you're not really, really on top of your diet, this is where your insulin sensitivity is not going to be maxed out. And, along with diet, comes in exercise. We're going to get to that point in just a second. But the diet, this is where if you are natural or you are trying to recover, you need to have your diet very, very, very well optimized. Some people say you should go much more animal-based. Me personally, being an Orthodox Christian, we have a lot of fasting periods throughout the year. So a lot of the year, I'm frankly pretty much vegan. And then when I'm not vegan, I'm eating a lot of high quality, free range eggs. And even with that, feeling fantastic. So the point is no matter where you go on that spectrum, whether you are more plant-based, whether you're more animal-based, you need to focus on high quality ingredients, organic, single ingredient foods. Okay, so the third point, this is such a massive point for anybody wanting to come off TRT after years of use. If you've been a steroid user, you've gotten on TRT, this is the point that I have literally seen men fail PCT attempts. I failed a previous PCT attempt because of this point. And this is the really, really, really tricky one. This is a mental component. By the way, there is a huge, huge, huge mental component that's not talked about with PCTs, and a lot of my PCT process that I do for men has to do with dopamine and serotonin. That's a talk for a different time. But the coming off TRT, there is a somewhat of a withdrawal effect. It's not in the same way as like coming off a hard drug, but there is a mental withdrawal effect. And so, a proper PCT plan is going to definitely address that. But this point right here is so massive, and that is, if you have any bit of your identity in your physique or performance, and what your physique and performance was like on TRT or on steroids, you've got to address that. Because if you are, you still need to stay active and you need to stay working out. For lifters, I recommend that you still stay to where you're lifting with high intensity. Maybe you're going to drop volume down a little bit, but you still need to keep that intensity in place. That intensity is what's going to upregulate your testosterone and stimulate it. But with that, you need to have your identity removed from that. So things I've been doing that has greatly positively impacted my life is, while I still lift and I still have my same power building split that I love to do, I've added in some things that take me outside of the gym and don't have, so much of my kind of physique or performance tied up into that. So one, I've been running a lot more. Y'all know that, I came from being an ultra runner, hybrid athlete back in the day. These were back before steroid use. And so I've been getting back into running a lot more, and that's been feeling amazing. Plus it's been giving me time alone out on the trails, just that solitary time in prayer, time in contemplation, and just peace. So that's been helping a lot. I've been doing other physical activities, like I've been climbing, bouldering, just stuff that's quote unquote fun, like play. Nothing that's tied to social media, me coaching, my look, anything like that. Literally just ways in which I can use my body purely for me and just to get my mind off of work, and not trying to drive up the weights like I have for years. Three, I've been getting out on my motorcycle a lot more. And this is another form of play. I'm going to do a video here soon on why play is missing from our life now. Everyone is trying to optimize everything, trying to, have everything tied to how productive they are, whether, that includes with their workouts, with their physiques, all that. And I was very much tied into that. But the point is, get yourself out of the gym, stay in the gym, keep a minimum effective dose in the gym that is going to be enough to stimulate you keeping a decent level of muscle mass and all that. Now I've downsized and I'm going to continue to downsize. Right now I'm 210 pounds. I'd like to get down to about 200. I know I'll be a little bit more functional there, but you want to maintain a decent level of muscle and strength to stimulate the testosterone, but you need to have things that take you out of focusing on, something that would cause you to still miss your identity, your physique, your performance, all that. If you're coming off of years of steroid use, there is a lot of you that's tied up into that. You being the big guy, you being the strong guy in the gym, whatever. You need to find things that you find great enjoyment in outside of the gym, and that'll absolutely help with the process of coming off. But if you do these 3 points, I'm talking about filtering your water, such a major point, making sure your diet is high quality, single ingredient foods, and then having things outside of the gym that bring true enjoyment to your life, using your body in ways in which you haven't been, maybe with having so much of your identity tied into the gym. It'll help so much. So go ahead and find some things that it'll make more sense for you to be maybe more of a streamlined version of yourself. I don't know, whatever it is for you, that'll help. But these points have absolutely helped me, and they've helped many other men that I know that have come off or are currently in the process of coming off, have a better time with it. Now, there's obviously the detailed talks I can go into of how to do the PCT properly. I can probably dive into some of those points in the future. Like I said, this is very person dependent. How long have they been on? What have they used? Where are they at in the process because of the dopamine and serotonin? But I can definitely talk about this in the future. Let me know if you guys have any comments or questions down below. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. All glory to God. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day.